All right, first up we have project news. Um, in case you don't know, 2.4 release is coming next week. It's a very large release, lots of new things. A full list is up on the GUI, or up on the wiki rather. And we'll have a release announcement and everything coming out too. Uh, the release images are building now. We're testing them out. We're going to be testing them out over the weekend, putting them through their final set of paces and tests and changes and stuff. Hopefully no more changes, but we'll see. If all goes well, it'll be out early next week. Um, a couple things to note. We did recently add some instructions for upgrading 64-bit NanoBSD to a full install. So if you're running NanoBSD on 2.3, because we don't have NanoBSD on 2.4, uh, if you uh, if you need to upgrade in place, you can do that, but you can always reinstall. And also, if you're installing from some older hardware that won't boot a MEM stick, we found some workarounds for a couple of older BIOSes that had some issues booting our 2.4 MEM sticks. Those are up on the GUI as well. That's all linked from the page there. Another note, we are taking the packages for 2.2 and earlier offline for security and maintenance issues. Once we get 2.4 out, we usually only support officially the current release and one prior, so that covers 2.4 and 2.3. And the older releases are no longer officially supported. Usually we try to keep the older packages out there as long as feasible, but in this case, because those use a completely different package structure and they haven't been updated in a long time. It was very hard to update those, the PBIs and everything. So they've just kind of fallen by the wayside. Rather than keep those old, vulnerable, buggy packages out there, we've cut those off. We're going to cut those off. Now you can still run 2.2. You can still run 2.1 if you really have to. We don't recommend it. We always recommend running whatever the current release is. But if you have to, you can run it, but you just won't have any packages. It's just in everybody's best interest. We don't want somebody to get compromised because of one of the older packages there. We do have our FRR package, or FR routing is another way to call it. It's packages now available for 2.4, 2.3.5, and 2.3.4 users. Had been in testing on 2.4 for a while, but it's fairly stable. It's out there for everybody now in the current versions. That package does BGP, OSPF, OSPF6 all in the GUI, so you don't have to handcraft any configurations. It's all stuff you can click through and do. And that is intended to replace both OpenBGPD and Quagga just in one package, so you can run BGP and OSPF at the same time if you need to. FRR is sort of the successor to Quagga. It forked off from there, and the development's continuing on that. We do have a couple new pieces of hardware that are really cool and coming out. We have our SG3100, which is coming soon. It was formerly known as Rogue One or R1. We've had some blog posts and things about it. It's a very fast ARM device. It's got 6 ports on the back, 4 of which are actually switched Ethernet. So basically, you could have 2 WANs and 4 LAN ports. And those, the LAN ports are switched, but there is going to be a capability where you can do like port-based VLANs and lags and stuff with that. And that's all in the works. I think those are going to start shipping sometime in the next few weeks here. We do have also an XG1537. It's going to replace our XG2758 offering. It's an 8-core Xeon D1537. It's got 2 10 gig SFP plus ports and 2 1 gig RJ45 ports. There's a blog post about that one as well. Also, if you have contributed anything to pfSense, that's a little bit easier now. We used to have a requirement for a contributor license agreement, but with the Apache 2 license that we switched to a while back, that's no longer necessary.